Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll gain confidence, clarity, and a competitive edge in a crowded marketplace so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm talking about something that most designers don't have, and that's boundaries. Stick around to find out what boundaries with clients are and why they're important, but also 10 signs that you need to set boundaries with clients and how to set those boundaries. Now, I had to talk about this because I struggled with boundaries for years without even knowing it. And my business changed for the better after I discovered that and after I addressed those issues. And I see so many other designers struggling with boundaries too, and they're unaware of the issue. And what happens is they will blame the clients. And many of them are to blame, don't get me wrong. And then they'll commiserate with other designers, but then nothing changes. And what happens then is that they keep attracting the same types of clients over and over again. And it's just this cycle that you just can't get out of. And I know because I did the exact same thing. Now, changing that was quite a bit of a process because there was a lot of introspection, a lot of mindset shifts that I had to make, and a lot of new policies that I had to put into place. And the other thing is that I was not comfortable in doing that at first, but it was 100% for the better, and it made things so much easier in my business. And I want that for you too. Okay, so what the heck are boundaries with clients anyway? You may have heard the term boundaries and, maybe not truly understood what it meant, like in relation to your business. And I know I heard this term for years before I really understood what it meant and what I should have been doing about it. And maybe I thought it was like a woo-woo term or something that didn't apply to me. Well, in case you don't know why boundaries are important, or if you think you shouldn't have them because clients are paying you, let me explain, okay? Boundaries are the rules that we set up for clients who work with us. And these are rules for how to treat us, but not just in how they talk to us either. You can and you should set boundaries in quite a few areas of your business. And if you haven't established any boundaries in your business, I'm willing to bet you don't have any boundaries in your personal relationships either. I didn't, at least. The two went hand in hand. Now, one reason that you want to set boundaries is respect. Boundaries let clients know, just like with other people that you have relationships with, how to treat you. You may have heard the saying that people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. So if you're a pushover, like many designers are, and hey, I used to be too. Now I take no prisoners. But if you are a pushover, then you're going to be especially vulnerable to taking on bad clients, letting clients take advantage of you, lowering your pricing, exhausting yourself, always questioning yourself, especially when the client objects to something, or maybe you take it as them objecting to something. Maybe they're just even asking a question. And this is maybe the worst one, because if you constantly doubt yourself in business, it creates a lot of problems. You'll just never be totally in control of your business, and your clients will always be running the show. And I know because I did this for a very, very long time. And it got to the point where I was just frustrated and crying a lot until I worked with several coaches to get things back on track, at least on the surface at first. And I say on the surface at first because it took a few years to discover why I was really like this to begin with everyone in my life, not just in my business. And when I figured out all of that mess, which led back to a lot of childhood issues, I came out on the other side. Okay, so like I said, respect. You will get more respect when you set boundaries because clients will see this as part of your business process. And having a process helps you get more respect because it says, look, I do this all the time and I have a process, and experts have processes. It also says that you mean business and you're not interested in any shenanigans. It's vital when starting out any new relationship that you get respect, because that is what sets the tone from there on. And that starts with screening clients. Okay, setting boundaries in your freelance business is going to help you screen potential new clients who might be waving big red flags. If clients don't respect your boundaries up front, do you really want to work with them? What a nightmare that would be. And letting clients know your boundaries helps you screen clients and decide which ones you want to work with. So, for example, I once had someone email me about design work, and I responded via email with a few questions for him to answer. That was not only to screen him, but also prepare for a call if I had a call with him. And I gave him the link to schedule a call. Well, he was mad. And he told me he preferred to deal with people instead of forms. And it wasn't a form. It was actually just a few questions and a link in an email, but that's besides the point. My point is that is not only my process and how I do things, but it also helps me filter out those that want to try to dictate the process. And for what it's worth, no one else ever complained about my process. In fact, many clients have actually said how much they appreciate my process. I mean, having someone schedule a call eliminates back and forth trying to figure that out via email. And being prepared for a possible meeting with a client by asking questions before that saves both parties time. So I really couldn't understand his issue, and I just told him we weren't a good fit. Okay, but screening can also apply to existing clients too. Now, as I'm sure you already know, some clients have a need to push us to our limits to see what they can get, right? These could be bully clients, and they might try to get a lower price, or get something for free, or get their late fees waived, or criticize your work. So hopefully you'll do more work than you promised them. I had a client I worked with for several years who began paying late all the time, and I got sick and tired of chasing him down for money. And so I said, okay, fine. I'm going to start charging him the late fees that were in my contract. Well, one day he called me and asked me to remove the late fee, and it was literally only a few bucks. And you know what? I said no, because he had made it a pattern of being late, and I had even only recently started charging the late fees, even though they'd always been in my contract. And he threatened to not work with me any longer if I didn't remove the late fee. So let me get this straight. You've gotten a free pass for a really long time. Now you want to try to bully me into removing the late fee? Sorry, don't think so. Now, when I said no, which was extremely hard for me to do, but I knew I had to stand my ground, that's when he started in with insults. Oh, I can replace you. I can easily find someone cheaper. And meanwhile, he had always praised my work for years, right? So this was clearly a bully tactic, and I knew that, and I was not about to give in. And really, the thought of just waiving the late fees made me absolutely sick. So I stood my ground, and then after I got off the phone, I cried. And, as I said, bully clients might also even threaten you to try to get more than they were supposed to get. Well, of course, I have a story for that too. I'll never forget this time when this crazy client did this to me. I had a full-time job, and I was also freelancing at the time. I had a client that I did a logo design, letterhead, business cards, and I think a folder for. And I specifically stated in my contract what was included, how many designs, which files he was getting, and all that. He called to ask me for the native files for the letterhead and the business cards and the folder, and I told him they weren't included and there would be an additional fee for them, unlike the logo files, of course, which he would get. So what he proceeded to do was threaten me on the phone, saying something about coming after me and calling me a little girl. And scarily enough, this guy lived nearby, and he was a security guard, and he actually had the audacity to come by my house. I was completely terrified, especially because I was living by myself. I mean, what a psycho. Okay, so anyway, another reason why it's important to set boundaries is to set expectations with clients. Now, you might set boundaries for how you want clients to contact you, whether that's through phone, email, or something else. And I know a lot of designers allow Facebook messages and texting or WhatsApp. If that works for you, that's fine. I personally only allow phone and email. I don't want to be monitoring 5 different places for client communication. That sounds like its own job and very distracting to me. Okay, now you might also want to set boundaries around the hours that you're going to be available or will respond to clients. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't work whenever you want to. It just means that you're letting them know what hours they can expect to hear from you. Now, if you offer free phone or video consultations, you can let clients know upfront how long to expect those calls to be. And one reason is because you want them to make enough time in their schedule. And 2 is because your time is precious and you don't want to be sitting there all day. So say, here's the link to my calendar to schedule a 30-minute call so they know what to expect. I can tell you quite a few times that I spent hours on a call with some potential clients. And in my experience, the more time that I spent on a call with them, the less likely I was to get the job. In fact, I didn't get any of those projects, I don't think. And why would that be, right? Well, it's because I gave away too much information for free. And I probably made it look like I had nothing else to do. The other thing you can do is be clear about the terms and scope of the project. What's included and what isn't. Do you want 50% upfront? I hope so. Put that in your terms too. Are you including up to 3 rounds of revisions or unlimited revisions? What additional charges apply for any revisions that go outside of the scope? You better specify that. Now, another boundary I had to set was response time to clients. I created my own monster. I would get emails from clients and I would respond right away. I thought I was providing good customer service. And what really happened was that I trained clients to think that I would always do that. So when I didn't respond right away, like within a few minutes, I would get these nagging emails checking in on me and asking if I had gotten their email. And I'm talking the same day, not like the next day, like pretty quickly. Okay, you can also set expectations about how to send edits to a design proof. If you don't tell clients how you prefer to receive edits, let me tell you, you're going to end up getting a Word document with or without tracked changes. Nobody likes those. And you might get an email with comments referring to page X or Y or something else. These are not efficient methods for the client or for you, right? So if you don't want them to do that, get in front of it. Tell them that you want them to mark up the edits in the PDF proof or in InVision or whatever you use. Because otherwise, clients will fill in the gaps where you don't provide that information. And when they fill in the gaps, you've got someone who doesn't do this work or they don't use the same tools that we do, right? And then they try to come up with how to do something. And it's not something they like doing. And it's also usually time consuming. Okay, let's talk client satisfaction and relationships. Okay, having but also enforcing boundaries, because that is key, means that you will have more satisfied clients. If you have 1 or 2 clients who suck the life out of you, you don't necessarily have the time or the mental energy to deal with the good clients. Bad clients that don't respect boundaries take your time away from those good clients. And you know what? Most clients want to help you get the project done on time and efficiently and make it easier for them in the process too. So sharing what you would like them to do just means you won't have to go back to them and take up more of their time. And they will appreciate that. If I haven't convinced you yet, enforcing boundaries is good for your sanity. And yes, I understand that you might find it hard to assert yourself. And hey, I get it, but hear me out. If you're spending mental energy on responding to clients outside of business hours, it is stressful. And if you're always at the whim of your clients and whatever they want and when they want it, then I have news for you. They are running your business, not you. You'll be pulled in a million different directions all day long. It will be mentally exhausting and you will never be happy and your business will not be profitable. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, isn't setting boundaries controlling? So many designers might think that setting boundaries is controlling. And is it? You bet it is, but not in the way that you're probably thinking. Because when you control the process, you lead the process. And when you do that, you're seen as an expert. And when you don't control the process, you may look like you haven't done this before. And if you're a people-pleasing designer, I'm a recovering people pleaser, then you might think it's hard or maybe not even right to say no to clients, especially because they're paying you. And that's almost the worst part, that you should put up with it because they pay you. But as I've said before, you do not have to pimp yourself out for the money. And not only that, but you don't even have to tell a client your boundaries on the phone or on a call, right? You don't have to actually voice it. All you have to do is put the terms in your contracts. And if you don't yet have the confidence to say it to their face, that's totally fine. Let the contract do the talking for you. Okay, so there are several signs that you might have an issue with boundaries with potential or existing clients. And some of them are more obvious than others, okay? But they're signs of disrespect. And so you need to recognize them if and when they happen. Number 1 is you take on bad clients. Number 2 is you feel taken advantage of by clients. Number 3 is you feel out of control in your business. Number 4 is clients don't respect the terms of your contract. So for example, they pay late. Number 5 is they expect you to be available all the time at their whim. Listen, unless you've agreed to that and they're paying you big bucks for it, then absolutely not, no way. That should be a minimum day fee. Number 6 is they contact you through ways that you don't want them to. For example, maybe they're calling your home number, which you did not give them. Or maybe they text you when you ask that they call or email you. I once had a client who used to work at my place of work who actually would sometimes call me at work. Okay, number 7, they speak to you in a condescending tone, like you're beneath them. Like if they pay you, you should just put up with how they treat you. I actually had many family members who would tell me to do that. Number 8 is they stand you up for meetings. Number 9 is they expect you to do more work than what was agreed on. And number 10, I'm sure there's a lot more I could come up with, but number 10 is they demand priority treatment all the time and everything is an emergency for them. So if you know now that you have a problem with boundaries, and even if you don't and you just need to set boundaries because it is only a matter of time before the inevitable happens, then listen up. Creating boundaries is easy. Enforcing boundaries is the hard part. Okay, you can create boundaries by reflecting on past client experiences and the crap storms that I've shared with you, and then making a list of things that you refuse to put up with. And when a new bad behavior comes along, add that to your list. You can also set expectations by putting terms in your contracts and then asking the right questions up front to establish you as an expert in their eyes and not another order taker. All of these things are going to help you avoid these scenarios in the first place and without actually having to have the conversation much about them unless, they go rogue. Like I said, enforcing boundaries is harder, and that's when you do have to put your foot down. Don't cry wolf. Don't send boundaries and then let clients run amok, because that only perpetuates the disrespect. And it means that you put something out there that you won't enforce and that you don't mean what you say. And listen, bad clients will always find a way to have a problem with you. If you put your foot down and demand respect, they will probably get upset by it and go elsewhere. And you know what? Let them. Get that toxicity out of your business, out of your life. And if you think being in business is about winning every project or client, then you will be unsuccessful in setting boundaries. If you constantly fear losing clients, then your business will suffer. And you will take on bad clients at any expense to your business, your sanity, or your health. Good clients will respect you for setting and enforcing boundaries. And sometimes good clients don't intend to go astray, right? And then you just remind them and they appreciate that. And it feels awesome when it happens. So please set boundaries. And don't be afraid to enforce them. You are the business owner and it's up to you and you alone. And if the client doesn't like your terms or that you enforced them, then they shouldn't have agreed to them in the first place. And that is not your fault. And it does not, I repeat, it does not mean that you did anything wrong. Not every client is a good fit, and that's simply how it is. And you don't need to change who you are or change your business practices to suit individual clients with unrealistic expectations or who are bullies or whatever they are. Now, if you want to start the client relationship off right, you've got to know what to ask clients and when. If you need help with this, grab the Brand Identity Builder, which will help you stop giving away your expertise free. Stop being an order taker and start being confident in leading the process and getting more respect. And the Brand Identity Builder will lead you through the various phases of the branding process, from the consultation through delivery, and then showcasing the final work in your portfolio so that you can attract more good clients. And you'll also find out ways to present your work and address feedback so that you impress the client, but actually get less pushback. And everyone loves that. And you'll also get worksheets and a checklist that you can print out and have on hand to guide you during the consultation calls and discovery and delivery phases. And you'll also get a list of resources. You can get it for only $27 at creative-boost.com/BIB.